Hey, welcome to the Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Sturgeon.
And I'm Russell Sari.
This podcast is about all things Wisconsin, history, music, culture, and beer. Although we don't often use strong language, the content is not intended for young audiences, so listener discretion is advised.
If you love the bluegrass music you hear in this intro, please check out Dang It's from Madison, Wisconsin by visiting their website, dang-its.com. Now on to the show.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast, your weekly dose of the Dairy State. We again are your hosts, Eric.
And I'm Russ.
And we have a awesome episode for you today, featuring some of Wisconsin's vast circus history and also the more specifically devoted to like the Ringling Brothers and the Baraboo, Wisconsin area. Really rich history, cool story. If you get a chance, my wife and I were just at the Al Ringling Brewery, as well as we took a stop by the museum. It wasn't open at the time, but absolutely phenomenal. Cool little town as well.
Heck yeah.
And close enough to the Dells, so while you're there, just take a quick 10-minute drive out. We have a great Wisconsin band called Large Print. We're going to be featuring their song Chew. We have a special brew review today.
Very special brew
Very
review.
special because it also coincides with our main topic, as well as another edition of How Many Locals You At? I like the harmonic
it was
groaning
pretty good.
that you were doing there.
It was a little grumpy sounding.
And then, of course, we have a special interview today, which also coincides with our brew and also the story. So this is all coming full circle on this episode. Hey, again, as we push just about every episode, like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff because it really helps not only for the algorithm and all that other junk, but also just so that we know that you guys are out there listening, enjoying. Leave us some feedback, no matter if it's negative, positive, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And also just reach out to us to let us know if you want to hear any specific bands, if you enjoy a certain beer that you want us to review, if there's a brewery that you think that we should talk to, if you know anybody personally or something like that, or if there's some sort of a topic that you think that we should cover in Wisconsin lore and history. We're open to any sort of suggestions, so that would definitely help us out. Honestly, and just telling a friend.
That's
word
the
of mouth
best. Word of mouth is
great
my
marketing.
favorite marketing. You don't have to pay anything. It's just letting somebody know. Check it out.
Right.
I mean, our love for this state goes deep. I mean, we've been here pretty much our whole lives. We're learning things too. Like I go to a library often. That's how a lot of these episodes come about. It's like I have to put a lot of things together to make these episodes.
Yeah.
And we just really appreciate anyone else giving the word out. Somebody that wants to learn more about our state.
Or just enjoys good music. Maybe somebody that just enjoys brew.
If you don't like the history part, we got great music. We got great interviews. Stay tuned. We got a lot of other things that don't apply to the history. So.
Yeah. So honestly, just let somebody know. Scream it from your rooftop if you want. Be careful while you're on your rooftop also, especially if it's winter. Also, we have our TeePublic. If you go to teepublic.com.
Yeah, check that out.
You can also just Google Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast, and the TeePublic comes up. A lot of the different sites that you can listen to the show on. Our website also pops up as well, which will be changing. We do have a new...
We do.
We have the sole ownership of a new URL and website domain, but also ProjectCapeStudio.com is where you can find us as of now. Patreon, also in the works. We're
definitely working that out right now. So we're trying to figure this all out.
We're filming some cool new bits and segments as we speak, so... stay tuned to our social media pages. That's where you're going to find out most of the info as well. So without further ado, here is our story on the Ringling Brothers and the circus history of Wisconsin.
So, Eric, I'm going to be honest with you. This was a hard one to write. I read about 2 or 3 books on this, and summing it down into a podcast was not easy. But I think I did as best as I could, so bear with me here, guys. So as stated in the intro, today we are talking about the Ringling Brothers, who were one of the many circuses that arose in the state of Wisconsin. There's many of them. And actually the other one we're going to be talking about today was from Delavan, Wisconsin. And the Barnum Circus originally started in Delavan, Wisconsin. So
yeah, and if you drive down the brick road downtown of Delavan, you do see some of the circus statues.
Yes, for sure. And they used to actually have a clown museum there that has since closed down, so you can't go and visit that one anymore. They used to have a circus museum there. But today we are dealing with the Ringling Circus, so dubbed the greatest show on earth. And we're mainly focusing today because I had to kind of center my episode on the Ringling Brothers themselves and the Ringling family and how everything got started. So this is more of the early history of Ringling, not the later history that we're going to see that was, going on recently. So this is like just the beginning of the whole story, because literally there is so much Ringling history out there. And summing this down into a 20-minute episode,
it's a lot of years. A lot of years, a lot of stories.
So it all starts with German immigrant August Ringling and Marie Salome Juliard. August, who worked as saddle makers in a harness, and he met Marie while living in Milwaukee in 1852. They would eventually change the name to Ringling due to it being more American sounding. The German Rungling doesn't sound very American, right? I mean,
right. And you'll see this a lot too. The surnames in the United States a lot of times derive from something else.
Yeah, and they moved throughout the Midwest and lived briefly in Chicago, Illinois, as well as McGregor, Iowa. While in McGregor, Iowa, the four of the seven brothers were born, but eventually decided to move to Baraboo area permanently in 1884, where in total the couple had 8 children, and their older one, Albert L. Augustus, Otto, Alfred Elf, Charles, John, Henry, and Ida. 5 of the 7 brothers, after seeing circus equipment being unloaded while living in McGregor, Iowa, they decided, hey, let's start a circus.
Hey.
It looked cool. I mean, when you're a kid and you see elephants coming off a train, lions, that's awesome.
The big top, I mean, that is one of those things that, like, as a kid, that's like the ultimate fort.
Yeah, exactly.
The big top is amazing.
And even Elf Ringling states that he and his brothers walked home for breakfast. They talked together for the first time they talked the first time while eating breakfast of a circus their own.
Yeah.
He said, when the last wagon had rolled out slowly up to the bank, Al, with a sigh of relaxation, turned to Otto and said, what would you say if we had a show like that?
Yeah.
Like, that was his word to his brother. Like, they knew they were going to be showmen from the beginning.
It's kind of like when you and I probably thought, wouldn't that be cool if we could be professional skateboarders? And then a couple of years later, we're like, what about professional musicians?
I still skateboard, but man, I'm telling you, I'm old at this point. I can't do as crazy stuff as I used to be able to. So
definitely not as entertaining as a circus.
No. So the 5 brothers involved in the making of what will become the Ringling Circus, where Elf, John, Al, Charles, and Otto. And after toying around with this idea and getting things together, the first Ringling performance took place on November 27th of 1882 in Mazomani. It was not the large performance that we're familiar with, but did feature some of the brothers dancing, instruments, singing, and was more of a vaudeville type show.
Sure.
The show was labeled Ringling Brothers Classic and Comic Concert Company. The profits they made from the show, they actually purchased some sick evening suits and top hats to look more of the part of a performer.
Ooh.
I know, so they used that money
evening
to invest
suits.
In themselves. So
I hope sequins were involved.
Oh, I hope so. Hope there are some fedoras.
Yeah? Your finest headwear.
As the show would continue on, they would continue to gain more circus items, including a traveling wagon, a rented horse, and a partnership with a veteran showman known as Yankee Robinson. The first true circus occurred on May 19th, 1884. Unfortunately for the brothers, the showman Robinson would pass on before the end of this first season. But as they say, the show must go on. 2 years later, they would continue to get more and more animals for the show, including a donkey and Shetland pony, in which they would made their first trick act. Later, brother Henry would join, and the same year, Gus also came in and joined the brothers in their show.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole family's involved.
The whole family's now,
I know.
Yeah, all brothers.
By 1887, the official show title was named Ringling Brothers United Monster Show, Great Double Circus, Royal European Menagerie, Museum, Caravan, and a Congress of Trained Animals.
That's the longest title I've ever heard.
Yeah, it has everything, though.
What are you talking about?
It has everything you need.
I mean, how many words in the dictionary do they need?
Skank, spanks, and everything you need.
Yeah, hey,
Hey.
we got everything you want.
The progress of getting more and more circus items was very slow at first, but all the brothers contributed to whatever they could include. Production, picking acts, managing the money, advertising, and publicity. They were all involved in basically doing everything.
Right, exactly. They're literally every aspect of the business in one.
You know, and to avoid clashing with some of the bigger circuses, their focus was largely on the small audience or the smaller neglected towns, like, you know, really tiny little areas where nobody's getting this stuff. So they're getting a name for themselves right away.
Yeah. Hey, travel to the big city, you get a lot of clients in that one little spot.
Right.
If you travel all the little small ones, you get a bunch of small audiences, and you're still probably collecting the same amount of money.
So in 1985, they decided to move the show to New England area, which has been long the stronghold for the competing Barnum and Bailey Circus, which actually the Barnum Circus started in Delavan, Wisconsin, which we talked about. So they sat down and decided that they would divide the U.S. rather than competing head-to-head. The Ringlings would take the Chicago Midwest region, while the show was the largest of all the traveling shows. And Barnum and Bailey would stay in the New York, New England region. And they began to buy up all the other circuses, like the smaller ones. So they're making so much money that they ended up starting to like incorporate all the equipment and shows into theirs to make it even bigger and bigger.
Right.
So, and you know, eventually, so here's what happens. I'm going to try to break this down. So when James Bailey of the Barnum and Bailey passed away in 1906, the brothers decided, hey, we got to purchase this. These guys are the next top dog.
Well, right. I think it's just the most common idea is to eliminate the competition.
Right. So they have all the small ones already purchased. They paid them off, so they're all incorporated into their show. But hey, what if we pass Barnum and Bailey? We are the circus monopoly. I mean, we're the top dogs. So in 1909, they purchased the Barnum and Bailey Circus. At first, the two shows were separate circuses, but it would eventually merge the two shows. They employed 1,000 people, 335 horses, 26 elephants, 16 camels, and all other assorted animals that traveled in 92 rail cars.
Right.
That's just so impressive to me.
I love that it's rail cars. I love that that's still the time period. I think the travel is just amazing.
It's so cool that like these brothers just decided this was what we're gonna do, and this is what it became.
And they did it.
They're top dogs now. Like they own everything. They own Barnum and Bailey. They own everything. Las Vegas area. They got everything you could think of.
They're literally enjoying their breakfast cereal one morning and decided this was their future.
Isn't that so cool?
And 20 years later, in 1909, they're still doing it.
So the show continued to be a success for years, and in 1929 they purchased the American Circus Corporation, which was a conglomerate of 5 or more major shows. So they got now they're moving out west.
They literally just absorbed 5 other shows.
The family continued to own the rights and everything all the way up until 1967 when they left the circus, leaving it to the Feld family for a whopping $22.8 million, who still kept the name and would continue the successful circus. Due to the ever-changing times, the circus closed on May 21st, 2017. As many as, a lot of things are getting more sensitive today, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but things are more politically correct than they used to be.
I think that
it's just changing times.
The rights of things that can't speak are definitely thought of more.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the animals and animal cruelty is definitely a hotter topic now, not only with just Circus, but also like SeaWorld.
Oh, for sure. Dude, what was that one? That black fish. Yeah, that was change your mind on animals.
Steve-O from Jackass has also spoken out against SeaWorld and their mistreatment of animals and sea life. So again, it's just a more woke society, if you will, to hey, give the rights and the proper treatment to things that can't necessarily demand it themselves.
Right, and I wanted to throw this out there. I just saw this movie on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher.
Oh, sure.
Oh, my God, man. I was crying.
Yeah.
And I don't cry. I really don't cry. But it's like this guy made a friend. Fuck off. This guy made a friend with an octopus, and he literally it's just such a great show. It really makes you appreciate nature more and really understand animals and thinking and thought that goes behind them. But like I said, it's more of a cruelty thing and abusive to animals, and people don't want to go and see this anymore. It's just not changing times, changing market. Luckily the family got out of it before this period because it could have really hurt them.
Right. Yeah. And hey, speaking of just good, wholehearted entertainment, we have a ton of it. So no real need to introduce acts that could potentially be mistreating animals, and even just the life of touring an act of this magnitude with how many different elephants they were saying, how many tigers, how many different.
Right.
That's insane. Animals don't want to be on rail cars or anything like that.
Exactly.
They just want to live in their own natural habitats. I mean, even zoos now at this point are like, that's a little inhumane.
It's starting
not
to
a real environment for those.
It's
animals.
starting to wean off now, where they're getting rid of this stuff though too. So
yeah,
to each their own. But I wanted to state that the Ringling family was actually one of the richest families for a while in Forbes magazine. They were they're America's top makers. They were like top dog rich. I mean, these guys were awesome. And these are just brothers sitting around eating pancakes and like, hey, start a circus, bro.
I mean,
sure.
Selling it in 1967 for $22.8 million. If you think about $22.8 million in today's dollar value, I mean, we're talking probably close to, $500 million or something like that in the 60, 70 years that it's been.
But I wanted to conclude this episode. They have left their mark on the world, and even today, Baraboo embraces the Ringling name with the Circus World Museum, the Ringling Theater, and the brewery Ale Ringling Brewing, dubbed the greatest place on earth, which, Eric, you were just there.
And I can confirm. It's great.
Which is located downtown Baraboo, who we are actually talking to later in the show. So you're going to get to hear from Ale Ringling Brewing Company, which we are kind of leaving as a, hey, this is the intro. We're not going to tell you who we're interviewing today.
No, but we told you right in the interview.
Yeah,
I mean, this is going to be...
It's related to the show.
This is one of those things. Normally, we kind of hold off a little bit, but this is cool because it's all just full circle.
And honestly, like I said, there's so much more history that is involved in the Ringling family and the Ringling Circus and circuses in general. And we're going to definitely do more. Like, this is just part one. This is just the Ringling Circus. So many of these acts and so many of these people were from Wisconsin that we have to probably do 3 or 4 more episodes to cover everything.
Yeah, and you will definitely be surprised to hear all the other stories that exist.
So definitely stay tuned for more of the Wisconsin Drunken History. We have more for you today, so stay tuned.
All right, we have another great Wisconsin music segment here. This is a band called Large Print, and we chose the song Chew. They have a mountain of other music, a plethora of things to listen to or choose. But this song in particular, I was just like, this is catchy.
It's really good. It reminds me of a band, and I hate to say the name on here, but it's called Starfucker.
Yeah.
They have like Ronald Gregory and Queen Isabella, just that sound. It just reminds me of them a lot. Like, you can tell the influence there at least.
Yeah. And for me, it was Death Cab, Ben Gibbard style writing. Postal Service is another one of Ben Gibbard's bands. It was just that following of the notes from the music and that exact kind of you're like stapled to it melodically. Like that's how
sure.
their vocals go as well.
So good though, man. It's crazy that these guys are another one from Wisconsin. It's sometimes Milwaukee hard to believe, honestly.
Yeah. Just fantastic music. I encourage everybody to check out their Bandcamp. They're probably on Spotify and stuff as well. Just phenomenal music. When we get back to live music venues and shows being wide open, once we're all vaccinated and pricked in the arm and whatever, just phenomenal stuff. Again, this is Large Print, and the song is Chew. All right. That was Large Print.
Holy cow, that was awesome.
Chew.
It was so good.
As we said, I mean, as far as influences go, you can kind of hear them all over the place throughout the music. It's phenomenal.
They morphed a lot of my favorite bands into just a great sound.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I think for both of us, it's and maybe we're just finding those influences ourselves, hearing those different aspects of different music that we enjoy, and maybe they're not truly influences at all. I mean, but the fact is, I absolutely love everything about what Large Print puts out. Absolutely fantastic music, fantastic musicianship. I love it. So definitely check them out. SoundCloud, Spotify, their Bandcamp. I'm pretty sure they're probably on YouTube somewhere. And again, with the live music stuff, go to their website and follow them on Bandcamp in order to find out exactly where they're going to be. Because this is going to be some fantastic live music stuff. I love it. So check them out. All right, we have another beverage review of the beer kind. This one is from, as promised, from Al Ringling Brewery, right there in Baraboo, Wisconsin. If you get a chance, definitely check that out. If you're in the Wisconsin Dells area, it's like a 10-minute drive from the major water parks there. So no excuses. You got to get out there and check it out. First of all, the brewery itself is awesome. And the mansion is great to check out. It's all kind of in that same vicinity. The museum's right down the street then too. So it's ridiculous for you not to check it out if you're in that area. The beer that we're looking at today is Kinker. Russ, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, Kinker is awesome. It's an American pale ale. It's coming in at 5.5% ABV and 35 IBU, so it's actually not in the high bitter range, but you're getting a lot of that upfront maltiness and still that IPA flavor, that pale ale flavor you're getting.
Right.
Hoppiness coming through. It's a nice medium brown color. Very drinkable, very good. Eric, what are your thoughts on the initial taste here?
Well, I think like you said, the bitterness is it's there, but it's not super. It doesn't attack forward. It's more of a bitterness afterward, which is a result of it being like the 53 range.
Right.
And overall, for it being 5.5 for yeah, I mean
it's low IBUs, but you got the pale ale flavor.
Yeah, and that's what I think I like about it the most is that it's also not going to crush you too. We've talked many times about pale ales being something that will potentially dehydrate you and stuff. So this one again,
it's not too bad.
Is not bad.
You know, is it really weird? So take a sip real quick and think of jalapeno poppers. Just think about jalapeno poppers in your head. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting like a little bit of that, like there's a spice to it.
The cream cheesiness and the spiciness.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit of that jalapeno popper flavor, which is really weird to me.
Again, for an APA, it's creamy.
It's very good.
Very good beer.
It smells great. There's a great aroma to it. It drinks really smooth. It's not super dehydrating. Like I said, it's 5.5%, so you can rock this one outside in the summer months, and still get stuff done. It's not gonna drag you down, or
it really does. It so flavor wise, it really is tastier than hell. I mean, what I love is it's so carefully and cautiously brewed that it's amazing. I mean, the love and the hand holding that you feel in this beer is amazing. Which is why we love most of the breweries in the Wisconsin area, because they have such a passion for beer and all things brewing. So it's just amazing to. I mean, it leaves such a good mark on the can. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's fantastic, and like I love the design. Like they have that like old school look to it. Obviously, Al Ringling has like the dope upper lip caterpillar, upper lap caterpillar. You don't want that one. That's the bush that nobody wants. Honestly, the upper lap caterpillar. Woo! Nobody wants to look at that sucker.
Fucking Ric Flair. Woo!
But Al Ringling, dude, he has
you
like
have an upper lap caterpillar,
upper lap, shave it off. All right.
We don't want to know about it.
Yeah, we don't want to hear about that one.
Keep it in the groin area.
We're talking about the upper lip caterpillar here. And this thing is a beef. This is like, Charles.
This is better than beef.
Have you ever seen Charles Bronson, Death Wish?
Which one?
This one's more lethal than that.
1 through 35.
I know, right?
They made a million of them, but this is...
If he saw this mustache, Charles Bronson would weep. This is like the beef of mustaches.
He could easily utilize his mustache as a weapon.
Dude, if he could just take it off and use it as a boomerang and kill someone.
Yeah.
This is like a 007
easily,
mustache.
He's whipped somebody with that thing.
But if you guys get a chance, please check out Al Ringling Brewing Company in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Pick up the
It's
Kinker.
dope as hell. I love the fact
awesome.
that the location itself. So the downtown area there is amazing in Baraboo. Check it out. The fact that this is like right inside of
it's in the Ringling Mansion, right?
It's the depths of hell of what is considered Ringling. It's amazing, and you get a little bit of that history when you first walk through the damn doors, and you see the staircases that the family easily kind of traipsed themselves, and then the room where the beer, the tap room kind of opens up to where the barrel system is. You can see that it's kind of like a stage thing. I've uploaded the photos this week, so you can definitely go back to our Instagram and Facebook in order to see those. Those are personal photos, as well as we have a couple that are borrowed from the internet. But it's absolutely amazing, and the beer again is just so carefully brewed. The people that we've talked to from the brewery here at the tail end of this episode, John, Joe, and Don, they're absolutely amazing individuals.
They're great people for sure,
and they have such care and passion for the state of Wisconsin. Even though Don's not necessarily a Wisconsinite himself, he's definitely a transplant, and hopefully relocating here at the tail end of the hopefully within a couple of years. I mean, it sounded like he was saying
he's
that
going to
he
retire and move to Baraboo, which is Baraboo's awesome.
I don't want to say the tail end of his career, because it seems like he's going to be a beer guy for the rest of his life, for crying out loud, which is amazing. And Russ and I have vowed to provide Don with a personalized Packers jersey. So he can don the green and gold. We signed on to
a lot of things here, but we're definitely going to hook him up with a Wisconsin care package when he gets here. So
for sure. So again, definitely try all of what Al Ringling has to offer. They also have the Al Ringling Family Brew, which is the original.
Yeah. Great.
You'll hear the story here at the end of the episode, but holy smokes, this is a great beer.
Fudge. There's a lot of good beers here, there, guy. Holy cow. Check it out. But no, you gotta see it. Al Ringling's awesome. Like we said, this episode was so hard to put together because there's so much history of Al Ringling, and we're glad that you're tuning in and listening to it, and we really hope you enjoyed it. But yeah.
All right. It's time for another version of How Many Locos You At? This is where the forces collide here.
There's a lot going on this one, and Eric, do you mind reading this one?
This guy is supercharged.
He is.
No, I don't mind, by the way.
All right.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. A Wisconsin man accused of crashing his truck and knocking out power in Green Bay was charged with his 18th operating while intoxicated offense.
Holy smokes.
According to a criminal complaint, this guy really screwed up.
74 years old?
74 years old. He's from Green Bay, was arrested Friday. I'm not really sure when this article was written. Oh, back in January.
Yeah, it was 2021, so it's new. It's frequent.
It's this year.
Yep.
This was... so it says that his first OWI...
was in 2011.
No, his first since 2011.
Okay.
I also read that too.
Okay.
So he hasn't been arrested for OWI since 2011. So it's been about 10 years since his last, but he's 74.
Okay.
His last one is when he's in his 60s.
I think when you're at that age, do you really care anymore?
No, you're retired and you're just like, I'm going to get sloshed and do whatever I want.
Who gives a shit anymore?
Yeah. So this one, though, is his 18th, which is I think the highest number we've had.
No, we've had a 19, but there was in
19.
Minnesota, but it was between the two states.
It was between the two states.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is the highest in Wisconsin specifically. So
this individual was booked into the Brown County Jail. Bail was set at $30,000. The court date was, I guess, January 29th. So this has been a minute. We might be able to actually find updates on this.
Yeah, we'd have to check this one out.
But there may have been more appearances needed because with these types of cases, you can kind of drag them on for a while depending on what's going on. But the criminal complaint noted that the individual was charged with OWI one time in 1988, 4 times in 93, 3 times in 94, 2 times in 96, 1 each in 1997 and 98, and then 2 times in 2000, and then 1 time each in 03, 05, and 2011.
So that's adding us up to our...
this is all getting us to 18 here.
Okay.
His license was suspended after his last OWI in 11, but... Can
you tell us a little bit more about what happened on this one? Because I'm curious, because there's a lot going on here, honestly.
So, yeah. I mean, written by the actual police chief, Andrew Smith, he wrote, I'm frankly shocked that someone with 15 prior OWI arrests is still driving. I'm more shocked that somebody that drunk is still driving.
Right. I mean, it's just so weird how lenient we are, honestly. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of states that are 3 and done or something like that, or 1 and done. I'm not even sure. So drunk driving is an avoidable tragedy, one that kills too many innocent lives every single year. We are committed to eliminating drunk driving in Green Bay through education and vigorous enforcement, and we need everyone to work together to solve this problem, is exactly what the police chief, Andrew Smith, had said.
Can you tell me what else happened here? Because this guy did some damage, I guess, on top of his... 18th.
Right. So the complaint states that the police were responding to a report of a transformer blowing up.
What?
Yeah. And they learned about a vehicle hitting a power line or a power pole shortly after 12:30 a.m. 12:30 a.m. Nothing really good happens after that. Power lines were on the individual's truck. They were sparking, so they were still live. So when officers were on scene, they were able to get the individual out of the truck before anything really happened too much. Of course, how many beers do you think this individual alleged to having? 2. It's always 2.
Just a couple brews.
Had a couple beers.
Had a couple brews with the guys.
Had 2 beers.
Two pitchers.
How many other people do you think alleged to having 2 beers who have done even worse than this?
At 12:30 a.m., no less.
2 beers at 12:30 a.m. Right.
Sure, we believe you.
Yeah, 2 beers
Wink.
at 12:30 a.m. maybe. So officers were unable to conduct a field sobriety report because the individual had a prosthetic leg, which is normal. I mean, there's individuals
which is normal.
No, I'm saying it's normal because some individuals can't do.
Oh man, yeah, no, I agree.
Some individuals can't do a field sobriety test, so it's not like the end all be all. That's not how they determine if you're drunk.
For sure, he had to take a blood draw. You think?
First is always a breath test. Preliminary breath tests, which aren't admissible by court, but that's just for them at the scene to determine whether or not this person's drunk or not.
Okay.
So preliminary breath tests, again, are not admissible by court. Blood draw will always be the next guess, or not next guess, but next artifact that they can take.
They can actually use. Okay.
Which he did. He was taken to the area hospital for a blood draw. He allegedly became agitated, and his prosthetic leg became detached. I'm not sure what the hell happened there.
Guys.
No, it's fine. I think laughing at this point is pretty normal.
His leg became detached. So let's hear the rest of this. Okay.
Yeah. So he refused a blood draw, which is normal, but also can be considered that's an automatic loss of your driving privileges and all that other stuff too. So sort of refusing is just not the way to go here.
I agree with that. So,
but anyway, because then all they have to do is get a warrant, and then they can do it, and they can do anything they want. Then
right.
with the warrant.
So can you tell us what happened after that?
So the crash caused power outages for more than 3,200 homes. He cited with operating without minimum insurance, which is also just not a good thing to have.
Insurance sucks. I'm going to be honest, but like, hey, you
but
need
it's
it.
mandatory.
Yeah,
and
you
the state
need
of
it.
Wisconsin
It's
says
better
it
than
is,
getting a
so
ticket. So
get
hey.
it. You know.
Yeah.
So the the Green Bay area, especially the police chief Smith there said, please be the designated driver. Use a taxi or a ride share, or call for a safe ride through the Brown County Tavern League.
Like we've said in multiple episodes,
right.
Just go to the Tavern League. They have free rides. Like, just do it.
He goes on to state, we need to work together to make sure drunk driving stops in the Green Bay area. Of course. And this has been an ongoing issue in Wisconsin. It
has always.
It's a pandemic in itself. Not a pandemic. It's an epidemic in itself.
Pandemic.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
I hate that word anymore. It's gone.
That's
baby.
true, too.
So what do you think? I mean, the guy's 74 years old.
This guy is straight up fucked.
Yeah.
Russ.
18?
How often have you gotten drunk?
A lot.
Yeah.
But I stay home.
Right.
And I just
and you don't
pass
crash
up
into
behind
power
the shed,
lines.
right? Yeah.
You don't take down fucking power poles.
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. When I drunk drive.
That was a growly burp that you had there.
I never really drunk drive. But literally, when I like drink at home and I have this many beers, I pass up behind a shed or a freaking barn. It doesn't hurt anyone. I'm just sitting there laid.
Passed out behind your shed or barn.
You have to, yes, you have.
And on your, floor.
You've hung out with some chickens and some cows, and you just you don't care. You just get drunk.
My thing is, this guy is in his 70s.
That's what I'm thinking. He has like a lot of tolerance.
Driving all over the place.
This might be
smashing
really
into shit.
high,
He's lost a leg.
74.
Yeah.
18. This guy might be up there. I'm going high. And I'm not gonna I don't like to go high.
No, I don't either. But
this guy's going high.
Here's my thing. He easily far exceeds what we've seen before.
So
at least what I'm thinking.
So can you want to go on 3, 2, 1 and like let us know what we're thinking here?
I want to.
We'll meet in the middle. We'll meet in the middle.
I'm not sure that I'm there.
I am there.
I got a number.
I'm there. Okay, you ready?
3, 2, 1.
24.
30.
Okay, so we got to go in the middle. So we're up there.
That's a split.
No, he is up there.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. So we're
24 and 30.
So what are you thinking on the middle, like a middle ground? So you want to go like 25, 26? What are you thinking?
Yeah. So, man,
it's your call because like this guy is up there, and he has tolerance, so he can handle some Four Lokes. If this guy drank Four Loko, he could handle them. He'd be okay with the watermelon, with whatever flavor you can come up with.
And
there's
there's some real Black Label, Gold Label, all this stuff that they've done recently. I'm willing to go to a 26.
Let's go 26 because I think it's kind of in the middle. I think it's in the middle there, and I think 26 local for this guy. And I can't believe 18. He is second in the most DUIs that I've seen because we've had a 19.
Yeah,
this guy's right under.
The fact that he was able to smash up a pole like this,
3,200 homes without power,
3,200 homes, no power, and then he claims I had 2 beers.
Wasn't
and then
two,
he
buddy.
goes,
was not 2.
And then he goes, I refuse blood draw. And then not only does he refuse blood draw, he gets to the hospital and his fucking prosthetic leg goes flying off because he's trying to wail off. This is wild out, man.
All right, so we got it.
I'm saying 26. You 26, cool 26?
26, hit it. Hit the gavel. All right, today we're here with John, Joe, and Don from the Al Ringling the brewing company. How are you guys doing?
Very good, thank you.
Good,
well,
great.
thanks.
So we just want to learn a little bit of history about the Al Ringling Brewing Company and how you guys got to start.
So we have the Al Ringling Mansion. It's Don and myself and my wife Carmen. We bought the mansion in 2013 in Baraboo, and we've been restoring the mansion and doing tours and so on. And then while we were doing restoration on the mansion, up in one of the closets upstairs, we pulled up a floor to do some floor repairs elsewhere, and the subfloor looked kind of weird. It had a patch in it, so I opened it, and there was a wooden box down in there that had some Ringling artifacts in it. It was kind of like a time capsule.
That's
And
awesome.
one of the coolest things that was in there was a recipe to what we believe is the recipe to the Ringling's house beer, the beer that the Ringling brothers actually drank.
Awesome.
That's insane.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And because of that piece of paper, we decided to go into the beer business, basically. So we wanted to share this beer with the world. So.
Which beer is that you you currently do you currently produce that one?
We do.
Yeah.
Yep, we try to have it on tap all the time. And John, why don't you tell them a little bit about that? You know more about the flavor and so on.
Sure, yeah, that's the one we decided to call the Ringling Family Original, and we have that one on all the time. We consider that our flagship beer. You know, that beer is the story right there. So I've been in the beer industry a long time, and in all my time in the beer industry, I've never seen another beer like it. It is truly an original, one-of-a-kind recipe. So the Ringlings, they had something special there, for sure.
That's awesome. And what I guess that's truly unique is that you ripped up some floor and you found a honey hole of a beer recipe, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it's really the only floor that we ripped up in the place, honestly, in the mansion. And, you know, for it to be there, we were pretty lucky. So
It was
That
almost
is-
as if we were guided by, by Al and Lou, sort of saying, check that out.
Yeah.
You almost have that feeling
exactly.
of guidance from Al and Lou Ringling.
Definitely
As
some divine feeling, right?
For
Yes.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so I was going to ask you too. So you guys are actually in the Ringling mansion of Al Ringling himself, who stayed in Baraboo area, who we actually talked about today. Can you give us a little history of the mansion itself?
Sure. The mansion, the Ringlings had the construction started on it in 1905, finished in 1906, and took about 18 months to construct. And the Ringlings spent about $100,000 on the mansion when your average house back then cost about $2,000. So when the mansion was built, it was the largest house in Sauk County. And to this day, it still is, but because of the additions that were put on during the time when it was an Elks Lodge.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could have met Al. He's just like a true Wisconsin like myself. Just like he loved the area. It's cool that he actually like made Baraboo a staple, and we love the beer. We love the whole area. It's so cool what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, Al Ringling, I'll tell you, he really loved Baraboo, him and his wife Lou, and one of the first things they did is when they moved into their house in December 1906, they opened up the doors to the entire town.
That's amazing. You don't see that
They
kind
did,
of openness today.
That's right, correct.
Thank you so much for the history, guys. And we just want to ask one more question before we get into the How Wisconsin Are You segment. Is there a beer you recommend we try, like ASAP, that we need to go, or anything new coming out?
Well, you definitely have to try the Ringling Family Original if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
Where else will you have the chance to drink the man's beer in the man's house? And we're releasing new beers every week. We just released a new IPA called Baraboobian, which is brewed with 100% locally grown hops. So what better way than to taste the flavor of the Baraboo area?
That's
And that.
so awesome. And I love the name, too. It's just such a
Yeah,
cool name,
I
the
like that.
Barabooian. Yeah, but no, that's so great. And if you guys are willing, so we have about 8 to 10 questions we always ask our guests to find out how Wisconsin are you, if you guys are willing to participate.
Sure.
All right, sounds good.
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, Don, was there anything else you wanted to add about the?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, feel
the
free.
beer?
Basically, it's part of what we have is the beer and all the different new varieties of beer. And one thing we focus on are some of the characteristics of the beer, and we try to equate a name that is related to Circus and Circus history. So all our beers are named basically from aspects of the circus industry. So one thing we do is try to keep the history of circus, since Baraboo is very circus history orientated, and we try to keep circus history alive through beer. So that's kind of one of the things that we try to do is we come up with new different beers and keep the mansion alive through tours and such.
Yeah, just keep it all relevant, which is awesome, which is what I think we sort of gravitated to the most. I mean, the first time I had really been to Baraboo was for because most of the time it just gets bypassed to go to the Dells, you know. But one of my really good friends had a wedding right downtown Baraboo. In fact, in the church that's like kitty corner from the mansion itself, and the museum is right down the block too, which is amazing. The big red church there, and I just absolutely loved it. It made me think I've got to go there. Plus, Around the Corner with John McGivern had a great Baraboo episode, and just reminded me this town is full of such rich history. We have to do something with this. So yeah, absolutely amazing. I thank you guys for doing all of that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Baraboo is definitely a great alternative to the Dells. You know, it provides a little bit of a more adult experience to those seeking that when they're coming to the Dells.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right, so I got about 8 to 10 questions, and I want to hear from all three of you to see if you've done these Wisconsin things. We do a segment called How Wisconsin Are You? And the first question I got, where do you guys consider to be up north Wisconsin?
Who do you want to go first?
Anyone, yeah. Anyone who's got an answer, yeah.
Wisconsinite, so.
But you've traveled extensively, so you might have a favorite up north.
Yeah, well, you know, for me, I guess up north's always been Hayward area. You know,
Hayward,
once you get north of Stevens Point, that's up north to me.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I was thinking like up, you know, once you get up towards Lake Superior and so on, you can't go much further north.
That's
anyway,
a true north.
That's north.
Holy smokes.
That's north.
And for me, most of my visits like up north have just been since I'm based in New York is when I come to visit the mansion in Baraboo.
Yeah.
And just do some day trips, which Joe and I have done. And for me, I don't really know that much about up north, but for me, being a Cornell University graduate from New York, there's Cornell, Wisconsin, which is part of where Cornell received its land grant trees. So for me, Cornell, Wisconsin, which is just 161 miles roughly north of Baraboo, is up north for myself.
And I'll tell you what, now that you bring up Cornell, I'm a deadhead. I think everybody knows that, but the Cornell University Grateful Dead show is probably one of the most iconic that there is.
Yes, they said that's right. They said I'm class of '77, and
I think that was the year, right?
That was the year.
It was '77. Cornell.
Grateful Dead concert was in Barton Hall, holds thousands of people.
Yes.
So the students, and the concert was in May. And you can imagine what's going on as far as drugs, whatever, within the concert. They walk into the concert in May. They enjoyed the concert, and they said it was the best one they've ever recorded. That's why it's so popular. And when the students walked out of the concert, like at 10:30, 11 at night, it snowed. There was 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Yes.
So people were like, "Wait a minute, how much did I smoke?" You know.
Yes. And there's no video of it. It's all just audio recording. So that's all we really have to see.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
Amazing.
Yes, and so it's for the Grateful Dead people. It's the Deadheads. It's awesome.
It's the best show.
Basically, yeah. Anyway. So that's for me. That's basically Cornell, Wisconsin is my
okay.
I love
awesome. At this point. I love the story too.
Yeah, I love that answer.
I was going to ask all three of you for beer brats, Wisconsin beer brats. Do you have a Al Ringling's beer we should try out?
You want to know which beer to cook them in?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, or to pair with just as tasting too.
Well, yeah. My personal opinion is that craft beer is meant to be enjoyed alongside a bratwurst. You should save the cheaper stuff like a PBR or a High Life or a good American adjunct lager for the boiling. Provides a great rich flavor, and you're not wasting something that you would prefer to drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
As we were talking about that too, it's hard to waste a craft brew.
I'd rather touch one of those big box beers in my fridge that's been there for a while than waste something great in there.
Exactly. So as far as which beer of ours you would want to drink with a bratwurst, that would be the Ringling Family Original. Because
Yeah.
if you're grilling brats, you're sitting outside on a nice sunny day, and the Ringling Family Original is the perfect porch pounder. You can drink it all day long. It's light and refreshing and easy drinking, and goes down great with
Awesome.
a delicious bratwurst.
Very cool.
I love it.
I'm on the same page with John. So
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, so we got a couple more questions for you. Supper clubs. I know from New York. Do you guys have supper clubs in New York?
There's a handful.
A handful.
Not out pretty much. I'm at the east end of Long Island, and
Okay.
we really don't have any out this way.
Gotcha.
So as for Wisconsin, do you guys have a favorite supper club to go and check out?
you have one. What's the one you took us to, John? One time in Portage. That was a good one.
Man,
There's
don't
so
remember.
many, to be honest. And
I don't remember. Where did we go?
It was on your it was on your wedding day, so I hope you remember soon.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
he may not. If it's wedding,
I don't
he
want to
may
get you in
not.
trouble or anything, but
Just a little hint,
Joe.
Joe. Just a little hint.
Cimaroli Supper Club between Portage
There
and
we
the
go.
Dells.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. Real
Awesome.
good old
Very
fashions.
good.
See, that's the thing. It's the old fashioned, but it's the environment too. It's got to be kind of dark, and you got to have that maybe that little salad bar with the relish bar too.
Oh, absolutely.
You got that fake wood walls and the terrible taxidermy on the walls. You gotta have it. You gotta
Terrible
have it.
taxidermy.
All right. So the next question I got, other than Al Ringling's, do you guys have a brewery tour to go and check out? And it doesn't have to be in Wisconsin too. If you guys have a top dog one outside of Wisconsin, that's fine with us.
Anything New York or anything.
You got a good one out by you, Don?
Out by me, I would have to say honestly, I haven't been to it, but the Brooklyn Brewery.
Brooklyn Brewery.
Historic
Okay.
building, and at one point Brooklyn was considered the world. Everybody knew of Brooklyn, and I would say for a tour it would be the Brooklyn Brewery because they're so well known. It's in a historic building, and it's got some size to it.
Awesome. I love it.
I know
In
Brooklyn.
Wisconsin, I'm sure a lot of folks would agree with me. The best brewery tour I've ever been on, period, Lakefront Brewery in Milwaukee.
That
Knew it.
one's like the top dog. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard to beat Russ Klisch. He's got it on lock. Literally the tour is, I think, his game. That's what he loves.
Yep, I think you're right.
You know, a funny story about Brooklyn, and I was just going to bring this up before we continued on. So I was in Brooklyn. I have to go there often for work. Boston and Brooklyn are the two places I'm pretty much at often. But I went to, it was like an Irish pub in Brooklyn, and I asked for a old fashioned. And the guy who was the bartender knew everything he needed to know about old fashioned, and I was so surprised. I could not believe
No
it.
way.
In Brooklyn, Wisconsin.
See, that surprises me.
in Brooklyn, New York. I could not believe it. He's just like, yeah, what do you want? Do you want
Did you
like
even make it with brandy?
yeah, no, he muddled and everything. He asked me all the details that I was waiting for. I could not believe it.
There's places in Wisconsin that don't even muddle.
I know, right? Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I could not believe that one. It was just phenomenal.
That's a shock. Have you ever had an old fashioned, Don?
Yes, actually, I'm always been a beer drinker, but at John's wedding, he ordered an old fashioned. He says, "Don, do
Cool.
you want one?" It was like, never had one, but sure. And it was like, can we get another? You know?
Yes.
So yeah.
You can't have one. It's potato chips. You can't have one.
You're turning into
So that-
Wisconsinite real quick. So
So I'm actually I don't actually get to the brewery and the mansion too often, being in New York, and of course with COVID, it's been a
Really
I bet.
difficult. Yeah.
But one of the things aside from the Ringling original beer is to deviate and have an old fashioned at the at the bar. I just, I'm honestly craving for one.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I feel for you. Now, Don,
And
are
I'll
you
tell
also?
you guys, we make
ahead.
the best old fashions in town using driftless Glen brandy or
Oh,
bourbon made
my
right here in
God.
Baraboo.
I like that.
I'm stopping in right now.
Now I'm stopping in. I'm driving. Don, are you a Packer fan?
For me, not so much. But once I moved to Baraboo, which has been my plan since about 1992, to retire to Baraboo. It used to be to work at Circus World, volunteer, have a small house in town. Now I don't have to volunteer at Circus World; I can just visit.
Yeah.
And but now, of course, my goal is to be a Baraboobian and ultimately have a home in Baraboo, be part of the mansion, the bed and breakfast, our inn, and the brewery. And
yeah.
Yes. Then I will hit Packer games as well as watching them. Over the weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully we still have a decent quarterback by then.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you get here, let us know when you arrive, Don. We're gonna ship you a Rodgers jersey.
Yeah, we'll get you a personalized jersey or something.
Thanks. Thanks.
Oh, perfect.
That'd be part of the initiation process.
It is
perfect.
Cheese curds and a Packer jersey.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time today. It was awesome, and thank you for telling us the history of the Al Ringling Brewing Company. We loved it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We're honored.
All right.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have a great Sunday, you
Have a
guys.
great
Thank you
Sunday.
so much.
Cheers.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Cheers. All right, bye.
All right, that concludes this episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast.
If you enjoyed this vulgar display of Wisconsin, please like and subscribe on whatever streaming platform you prefer. And remember to hit the bell on YouTube to be notified when we release new content.
Also, if you have any suggestions or ideas for future episodes, please send us an email at widrunkenhistory@gmail.com or head over to our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Thanks again for listening, and remember, as always,
Watch out for deer on your way home.